You want to talk about the good days of football, right? The romance, the tradition, the beautiful Italian accent, Italian landscape, Italian soccer. Well, turn that dial because this is not the episode for you. This episode is not about nostalgia. It's about change. It is about the game moving faster than all of our old answers and questions. It's about duels, decisions, mistakes, pressure, and whatever our kids need to be to actually be prepared for what's coming next.
Because one of the traps in youth soccer is that parents start looking for fixed answers. What is the right club? What is the right style? What is the right pathway? What does good soccer even look like? And Filippo Giovagnoli pushes against all of that. He is not saying there is one clean answer. He's saying the game keeps changing. And if we stand still, our players fall behind.
Yeah, Filippo grew up inside the Italian football system, worked deeply in American youth system, helped shape Medoval, and then moved into a professional game in both Ireland and Switzerland. But what makes this conversation interesting is not just where he has been, it's how much he's still asking and how many questions he still has.
So today we are talking about why tactics alone are not enough, why young players need more 1v1 moments, why winning duels is not just about size, why the player has to sit at the center of the model, why the best footballer may simply be a learner with grit.
Yeah, this is a chasing the game, Italian style. Buongiorno, my friend. Mr. Filippo, welcome to Chasing the Game. I'm so excited to have you here. I have a shared past with you and your club, and I owe a lot to my son's development, to the roots of your staff and what you guys bring to this area. But before we start talking about Italy, Ireland, the United States, maybe you can give us a very short version of your path. Where did you start playing football and what shaped you and how you see the game? Because I know it's very unique.
First of all, thank you for having me. This is really, really nice by you guys. And when I started, basically, I played football since I was born, like all the Italians that they grew up in a small city, small village in Italy. This is what we were doing all day long. And I started to play in my village. And then I was decently talented to be bought from a club that was in a semi-pro here in the region. And I started to play really young, 16, 17 years old with the adults in a really tough league. And I became kind of semi-pro player that I was, navigating in these leagues and trying to, making money. And I play until 32, 33 years old. While I was studying, I got a degree in motor science. And then I was thinking that I was becoming a performance coach because I was really into it. Like performance, like strength and conditioning, this kind of things. And then they offer me to coach and I start to coach. And then I coached a little bit in Italy. And then I had this opportunity through AC Milan, through the camps to come to work in the US. And I found a soccer school with a partner. And then Jeffrey Saunders saw me working in Long Island and offered me to be the director of Medoval. And then is what I started, to understand what could be an academy director in the US. And I did all my education in the US. I redid all my soccer education in the US and I learned the job in the US. I learned a lot in the US, I have to be honest. So I have to be really thankful to the system in the US.
Filippo, how long ago was that when you first came to America? And I guess two parts to this question. What was of interest to you to come here? And then secondly, what aligned to what you expected from American football and what surprised you?
Well, it was 2011, 2012. I was working in a pro club in Italy and I was under contract, but the thing didn't go through well. And this American guy from New York offered me to come to the US to see the situation. And I came for 2-3 months. But then I saw potential because I saw talent. I saw a lot of kids play football with enough talent to be good. And I told my wife that she's a teacher. I told her, you should go 1 year in New York, see what's going on. And then basically I stayed there for the rest of our life. I saw really what was the potential. And I found a lot of, talented players from all over the place in the world. And they said, if you work in the right way here, this is going to be fun. It's going to be, it's going to be good to develop talented players. But I didn't know the system, At the time it was Academy. If you remember, there was the Academy system.
DA, yeah.
DA with the USSF. So when I started to work with Metoval, we had only one team there, it was to get all the teams and get credible, start to be credible, create professional staff, hire European coaches, at Metoval. And I think we did a lot. We did a great job there with Jeffrey Saunders, with the board. So try to model a little European academy, with a lot of ideas, with the coaches from all over the world. And it was like, for me, Metoval, it is, and it was a laboratory of ideas. We were there just with the passion, curiosity to understand, to learn every day. So what can we do? Where football is going, right? So, and we were studying, looking, try to understand and accepting a lot of mistakes that we did, but, still trying to develop players and focus only on that, never look to results. And this was our problem at the beginning, just, look to develop, to how to play a football that was able to develop players, right? So what is the tool? And this was our challenge every day. So it was really, really, really fun time for me there. And I model also myself as a professional, because I became better. I became a leader, strong, not, and when I went to coach in Ireland, I coached a team that was the best team in Ireland at the moment, even if it was in a bad time. And for me, it was like a coach or direct method. It was the same kind of leadership. Wow. I arrived really sure what I was doing. I had no problem. I am a little bit a character like that. I was ready. So it wasn't a problem at all. So, growing, passion, learning every day. Don't think that because you don't know anything. The football is like life, like everything is changing every single day. And we're chasing this game, right? Like you guys say, chase the game. It's the same thing. I'm chasing every day.
Yeah. In part of our award-winning series of people with accents talking about soccer, I wanted to kind of think about this idea of you coming and training in the United States, then going to Ireland. Are you bringing Italian football to where you go, or has that changed as far as the years have gone by?
So, of course, we are coming from a culture, right? I grew up in this extreme, obsessed, tactical culture in Italy, where we are so obsessed about tactical detail. That is something that made Italian football one of the best in the world, but now is biting us back, because the football is changing. And this extreme attention to the tactical part of the game left behind other things, right? Because now we go slower. Now there is no intensity. There is no rhythm. We left a little bit behind the individual characteristic of the players. Now we are going back to that, because if you see games like Munich against Paris, about 22 duel during the game, right? There is attention on the tactical part, don't get me wrong. But now is more individual attention. It's like a dog that bites his tail. Like you are always there. What you have to develop is the individual characteristic of the player. At the end of the day, is the player that make the difference. Is the individual. So you have to pay attention, especially in the younger age, in the individual skills, right? Technical, tactical, understanding technically and tactically what you're going to do, because you don't know in what system you're going to play. You don't know in what game model you're going to play. So you cognitively, you have to prepare players that think, not that they are robots, like execute things. And football now is going that direction again, right? So duels. When I was the director in Switzerland for 2 years, and we were scouting players, even with true data, true stuff. So who's winning duels here?
Yeah.
Are you winning duels? Or is just, he's a player that can switch side of attack. He's good technique. Can he win duels?
Wow,
They are killing you.
that.
You understand? Like, is becoming really good. And it's not about size. It's not because you're big and winning duels is many things. It's many things in the decision. It's not only physical. So it's like there is a lot of things that you have to check. So I don't know what was the question. I don't know where I went.
It doesn't matter. I actually don't care. I actually don't care what the question was. I don't even care. This was brilliant.
Do we have only 1 hour? Because if you start with me, it's going to be long. Eh?
Mr. Italian time is okay.
We hear in the United States all the time that Europe develops better players. But that phrase can mean a lot of different things. And even to group Europe as opposed to individual countries who develop players very differently as well. What do you think people are talking about when they say that Europe is a better place to develop, does a better job developing players?
Listen, I think it's the level of the competitions. I think is the history, is the culture, is how the people live football still in Europe compared to the US. Because the kind of talent, trust me, it's not different. We can find better talents in the US. So, and we can find even clubs that they work really well and they are well direct in the US. So, and we can find a really bad club in Europe, like develop players in Italy. There are not like the decisions that the club they make to hire the right people that they have to be on top of the chain to develop players are not consistent at the moment in Italy. So I don't know if for me it's just because football really competitive, really that create the challenge for the players that are higher probably in the US. In terms of environment to develop, I think US is coming because also they are hiring a lot of people from Europe, a lot from South America. So there is a mix of culture that are arriving in the US that make it is going to take a little bit more time, probably, but it's coming. For me, it's coming. It's coming.
When you mention the competition part, I think it's probably partly competition, which culture is driving competition. But is the competition, is the challenge around competition in the US just because of the geographic landscape of this country to a certain degree that and now when you look at what MLS Next is or you look at what ECNL is and just the size of those groups, the number of teams in specific areas, is the competition then being diluted to a certain degree because of the number of quote unquote elite academies and talents just spread out, and that's therefore making it very difficult week in and week out to get the best matches and the best competition?
It's probably one of the challenge. Absolutely. It's part of the problem, for sure. To find a solution to that, for me, the only solution is to invest in the academy, meaning in
the non-pro academy.
Yeah, in academy like New York Soccer Club, like, and then and do the right investment there. Help this club because they are the club that they are in the community, they are in the territory, and then if they work well, you're gonna probably have the best talent regroup in Red Bull. This was our battle when I was there. Like, make us better, give us something, help us with the resources. We know how to run the show, how to develop, but give us some resources to do it, scholarship, whatever it's going to be, to help you. Right?
When you say give you mean like it would be coming from the pro teams, or would it be coming from like US soccer when you say give us some help?
No, from the pro team.
From the pro teams.
Yeah, because even UCTFC, Red Bull, they should be stronger with the club. Like, okay, help them. So you get a player from Metoval, give them money, right? So give them money. So give me money to develop another 3 or 4 for you. They're gonna come to play for you, or sooner or later. We don't have a first team, and I am not interested. I was calling the club. I was calling NYCFC or Red Bull to say, listen, I got this kid. You should look. I got this one. You should look. because I'm in favor of development and give opportunity to the kids.
Filippo, let's say I take one of your American parents. So part of what Matt was saying about this idea that American parents have this fixation about Europe being, in a general, very simple terms, better for development. If I took one of these American parents from Medoval and I put him in an equivalent club in Italy, what would their vision be? Would they see something different than they saw at Medoval, or would it feel right at home?
It depends the club where you put them, because they can be top club where you're never going to see your son train, or you can put your son in a middle, like a third division, good environment to, like middle, good environment to train, to have your kid to develop, but middle where you have more access, where it's more like the situation you find in the US, right? Or if you go to top club, you're not going to have access. You're not going to have anything, right? So the difference then is this. So I don't know. I don't know how they could respond. And then, listen, crazy parents are everywhere. Crazy parents are in Italy, in France, in Ireland. I met them everywhere. But I met the majority were good. The majority were good. So when we say the problem are the parents, no, really. No, I found a lot of parents that they were helping. They were good. They were understanding the development of their kids. So I don't wanna be too hard with parents at all.
Filippo, that would be too easy. Filippo, we've talked a lot on this podcast, or the guests on this podcast have talked a lot about how American development continues to move forward in a fairly significant pace. But then one of the other anecdotes that comes out of it next is the rest of the world isn't standing still, right? All these countries are focused on development and everybody's moving forward. So thinking about trying to bridge a gap, it's not like we're working against stationary countries who are just standing still. But I did want to ask you about Italy specifically. So you touched on it a little bit. Has the lack of investment in development and infrastructure, when I even think of the professional clubs and stadiums and everything that comes with it, how much of the development piece of that has significantly impacted the national team and even the ability for younger players in Italy to come through Serie A and then be successful, the way you were seeing in other countries at an early age?
You already gave the answer. So
Matt's very good with that.
this is lack of investment in infrastructure in a human. Because you have to invest in the human being. You have to invest to people. When they talk to me about projects around the world, we need to invest to people, to people that are educated, and keep on going to educate them. So this is lacking in Italy a lot. And still there is a circle of people that they are working, that they are not specifically and professionally educated to do the job. You understand? So this is a huge problem, and they are not paid, and they are not well paid. Coaches in Italy are really underpaid, even in the professional teams. So as a director at Meto, I had my coaches come in the morning to do coaching education. They were professional. I was obsessed with coaching education, and I obsessed them too. So we want to learn, we want to do better. In Italy, you cannot do that because the coaches, even in the pro, maybe they make 1,500, 1,200, or 1,600 in the pro environment, and they have to go to work. And you don't have them with you. You cannot do coaching education. They do this like a second job, or this is not serious. So there is a lack of education. There is a lack of infrastructure. There is a lack of investment dedicated to the academy. So we talk about that a lot, even with investors, even with the owners, but nobody does anything at the end of the day.
No, and it shows. Unfortunately, it shows. So you lived through the American youth system, but it's kind of a mess here. You have different leagues, different brackets, different tournaments. So parents, I'm just speaking from the parent point of view, you get really confused and overwhelmed, and you try to say, okay, what tournament am I going to put my kid in? What league are they going to be? What extra trainer? Because there's so many extra trainers everywhere. Is this something that, for example, in Italian football and youth is the same? Can you talk about that difference a little bit?
In Europe, there are not all this league, all this tournament, all these extra coaches. It's really straightforward. There is a league where your kid play. It depends of the level, of course. But if he's regional, he's regional. If he's in the, like more closer in the community, like there is 2-3 leagues that you can play. There is one federation. There is not other things or other organism or environment where you can put your kid. Or you play there or you play there. And this, for the recruitment, for the talent, for identification, is easier, of course. This is much, much, much easier. Because like you were expressing, like the talent in the US is really spread out in many leagues, many, like all over the place. And you can find players over everywhere, good players. But then to go to it, identify is becoming complicated. No, it is much easier environment for sure in Europe.
Yeah, it's very complicated here. So one of the things that comes back in this podcast, and you brought a little bit up, is this. I know we simplified, but we think, okay, soccer culture. I'm sure you heard that before. In Italy, for example, it's the main sport. Kids grow up seeing their parents play, their cousin play. There's always somebody at the local team. You see the game on TV. It's all over the place. We think in America, if we had culture, we would be better at soccer. But it seems like the decline of, and your face, I can tell, already knows the answer. The decline of Italian football made Matt and I think about the difference between culture and structure.
In Italy, there is a lack of a structure, even in understanding what is. When you build a club, you have to create the culture, right? So the vision, the mission, the core values, the behaviors that are connected to the core values. In Italy, there is not really the study of this structure. When you go to do course in education and stuff, I never find something like that. Things that put my understanding of the game in general in the right place with the right structure like I had in the US. What I was studying in Italy was just the tactical part of the game. That's it. So it's the pitch. So how are we going to attack in the 2v2 there? How are we going to defend in the 4 on the back? And there was the best coaches that they were coming to tell you, even when a foot was 30 degrees instead of 31 degrees, you understand, to defend better.
Yeah.
Okay. But the other part, how to create a culture in a club, zero.
Wow.
So this lack of structure, understanding, this is what we are paying now also in Italy. If you talk about culture in this kind of meaning.
So you're saying watching footballs in cafes, seeing it in the newspaper, talking about it all the time and arguing over it doesn't automatically make good youth players.
Perfect.
Wow.
Perfect.
I know.
Perfect. It's time to move forward, because when they say, "Oh, we don't play anymore on the street 12 hours a day. We don't do this, so this is the problem of football." Okay, we don't do it. So what are we going to do about it?
Mhm.
Just go over this. I don't want to hear this anymore. It's not going to happen anymore. So how we develop players now? We are more scientific. Okay, so please, let's be more scientific to do that. Let's use data. Let's grow. What this kind of culture is still alive in South America. Is there or in Africa? Okay, there you find this kind of talented players because they have this kind of life, but not in our environment anymore. Not even in my village, kids, they play football like we were playing, and we have a lot of space here. But it's different. Life is different. So we need to find the other way to develop players in a more scientific way. Please, that's it. Just do it.
Yeah. Filippo, I'm curious, a 13 or 14-year-old strong European player playing at a top academy there, what does the American player, it's tough to generalize around this, but what could the American player who's also a strong player playing at a top academy potentially be missing that your same European player who's grown up in a top academy there has?
If the talented player in the US is in a top environment in the US, in a top academy, like the top talented player is in a top, I don't think he's missing nothing.
We've also had academy directors at Orlando or at DC United. So some of the professional academies, NYCFC, and there seemingly does become a greater gap at like 16 or 17 years old for whatever reason. Is that a fallacy, do you think? Or does their gap become a little bit greater?
At the end of the day, we need to understand why. Why at 16, 17 this happened here?
Uh-huh.
So what is the trajectory change? Because there is the college system, because there is, focus on other things. I don't know. The obsession on be pro is still bigger in Europe, right? Or in Italy,
Yeah.
or you do everything. You don't study here to be pro, right? So you do everything to be a pro. We need to see the numbers. We need to see the statistics.
Yeah. I mean, this is purely opinion. I get the sense that American youth players have this dream of playing professional, and then they get to 14 or 15 or 16, and they all of a sudden they realize like, oh, I'm not good enough to play in the Premier League or to play for Man City, right? And then their focus maybe starts to change a little bit, which is, I want to get into a great college. Soccer can be that vehicle for me. You've coached all the way through. I mean, do you think there's some truth to that?
Yeah, because this is the football, the soccer that you know from US about. You follow the bigger leagues, right? And then this is what you idolize, like you see this and you don't see what I went through in Italy playing as a semi-pro and pro. I'm going to play in third division. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to make good money. I'm going to make 60, 70, 80,000 per year. No education. Yeah, great experience. At 30 years old, my career end if I have no injury. Then what? For my son, I want my son educated. I don't care about football career. Like unless you are one of the few that you're gonna be at the top level in top leagues, I wouldn't go through this pathway. I'm honest with you guys.
Yeah.
In the United States, soccer is expensive. And I think we don't need to have a podcast to know that it's probably more expensive than it is in Europe. We're talking about tournaments, fees, kits, whatever. It could be $10,000, $20,000 a year for some kids in some areas. That money is not coming from the kid, it's coming from the parent. So parents in the United States, whether they like it or not, have a much bigger part of the path of the kid and have a lot more interest because they're spending a huge amount of money. So also another dilemma is that a lot of the parents here, they didn't grow up playing the game. So Filippo, you were exposed to all of that. Do you feel like the American parent is more involved, for example, than the European parent? And if so, how did you deal with that when you were in Medoval?
I saw everything. At Medoval, I saw parents that they were educated for inheritance, for where they were coming from. They were decently educated. I saw parents that they were not educated. I went through everything. Sometimes I prefer the people that they are not educated, right? Because then when you are a little bit educated in football, you think that you know, which is the most dangerous parent you can find when you start to talk, because they play a little bit in high school or they watch a couple of games on football, then it's becoming a bomb, it's a waste of time. When I was at Medoval, because maybe it's my age, when I was going to the meeting, I said, I'm going to talk and you cannot even ask questions. I'm going to tell you what it's going to be. Sometimes I did that because I was desperate, but then they were looking to me like, the Italian crazy guy that, he's old now and then maybe can say that. You understand?
I do. Trust me, I do understand.
Yeah, because I was at the point where it was a waste of time, and it was a waste of time for the development of the kids. Just let me work. I don't stop, please. I went through this situation, but then I went through with really many really good situations where parents were really helpful, really understand, and was good. I might be in Taekwondo when he was there. It was really expensive.
Did you become an expert in Taekwondo so you could fully understand it?
I love it. I was going there, I was watching, and I don't understand anything. I was, I like fight sport a lot, is my, but I was just enjoying. I can't say how to make a kick, a back kick, or I don't know. And this is the good part. And I never ask I was just going there, watch and pay. That's it. And enjoy the tournament or enjoy when he was working. And I told my son, I remember one day I told him something about, we were coming back I said, if you don't work hard, I'm going to take you out from the school. The only thing I told him, because I saw him that was not engaged. I could see that. So I said, oh, you work, or it's over. But I didn't go to the coach or to the director there. And just one time I spoke about that with my son. That's it, finito. And I didn't tell him anymore anything because I don't know. So see, yes, it's a lot of money. It is. Some. It could be also a little bit an investment thinking to the college. Okay, make my son better.
Maybe.
Like,
Maybe.
or it's just the system. But like if what I'm thinking sometimes is, but if the parents they were not paying, how I can pay my coaches coming from Holland, from Italy, to create the best environment I can for the kids. If we have not, like a club like Metova, how you can survive, Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't think Metova is for profit, like I don't think at the end of the year, the board is there to make money and they don't care. They are there to give back to the community. And with all the scholarship we give around, we don't even break even, I think. So absolutely not. So and we try to always to make the environment better, investing. It's a lot.
Filippo, specific to development and parents, whether you have a great understanding as a parent of the game or you don't, I think we're always looking for specific areas in which we can say, my son or daughter is getting better, right? It's hard to see it. It's certainly hard to see it from month to month or even from year to year to a certain degree. But say like a 12-year-old kid who's playing at a high-level academy, what should a parent be looking for to see if their player is really developing in that environment and it's the right place for them?
The first thing, is he happy to go? Is he happy to go there, to be with his friends, to be with the coach, to be in that environment? This is really important part. He's talking about with fun about football, about he wants, like he's learning, absorbing. Then if you talk to me about what a parent should look, what is learning in terms of skills, or something is hitting you really well, like, okay, now is more, how do you say, relaxed in the pitch when he's making decision, or is more, you see his body language. You have to look this kind of things. He's enjoying the game, right? Because if you tell me, oh, his first touch is better under pressure in a third of attack, yeah. I mean, do we have number on that? This is something that, because at Metova, we were doing that at some point. I took a platform that was analyzing the game technically and tactically. Because I was so tired about opinions that I said, we're going to do this like in the pro. So, and we brought statistic in to check this, right? And we were sending this to the parents, the statistic. So then this became really dangerous. Because because many parents, they start to analyze statistic about their kids, even parents that they were not super understanding of the game, but they can read the statistic better than us, like the smart people. So what you should look for me as a parent is this: is enjoying the game, is relaxing, is making decision in his own. He's not worried about what looking to you when he's making a play, or looking to the coach, look to make him happy, or he's doing his stuff. Is he learning to be in an environment, in a system, in a team? He's playing with other people. He's moving well. So his cognitive system is processing things. Like you can see a kid, right? That is, if he's more, comfortable in the situation. And then how he's reacting when he's making mistake, how he's reacting on challenges, like somebody's beating him, or whatever it is, he's reacting well. He's keep on going to play. Next play, don't worry. Like he's making better to do this, because these are the foundation more than the technical skills. How is he reacting to mistakes? How is he reacting to challenge, to adversity? This is where you have to see, okay, it's going to come. The kid has balls, like he's learning, like he's not afraid. Those are the things that are interesting. I think that this you can see as a parent, even if you don't know the game really well, even if you don't understand what it is to find a third man under pressure. It doesn't matter. You understand? He's going to the 1v1. Okay, how many times is winning 1v1? Oh, 3 out of 10. Yeah. But what discount is the 10 that he tried. You understand? Because he win 3 out of 5. Oh, it's a good percentage, good statistic. But he did only 5. He could do 10. Why he didn't do the other 5, right? So he's worried. He doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to try. So those are things that, for me, are important. And this is how you interpret the statistic then, right? Because 3 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, you say, oh, this kid is really good. He's winning. Yeah, but he could do 10.
Less, I could certainly speak for myself that I've tried to overcomplicate the analysis around what development looks like. And in some ways, it's like, just simplify it, right? Look for body language. To your point around when you're able to take those chances or when do you play safely. And at the end of the day, is your kid happy in the environment? That's what we all want, I think, as parents, is our kids to be happy and to be thriving and to be pushing themselves. And without that, then what are we doing this all for? Right.
And something is going to happen there. In that process of development, something good is going to happen. I'm sure. Because if you miss this part and you always worry, and somewhere is going to stop. Because the amount of stress that is coming from, I don't know from where, from a coach, from a parent, from a teammate, is going to create problem to the motor of the development.
To Matt's point, though, I'm guilty of it too, of course. It's very difficult for us to tell if the kid is really progressing. I understand the simple way of what you said to look at, okay, is the kid happy? Are they trying? But so what we do is we have extra sessions, we have private trainers, where somebody said, oh, the kid doesn't get enough minutes, so we put him in tournaments, we put him in all these things outside of the 4 times a week plus game that they do in their clubs. Do you think, and I'm not going to put you on the spot, do you think that's useful as an idea, or to you it just looks like just people are out of control with this?
No, the thing that I don't like is when you say we put the kids. So it's like if you force him to do that. Does he like to do it? Does he asking? Is he obsessed by himself of the game? Because all the best players in the world, they are obsessed. All the successful players are obsessed in what they do, right? You guys probably in your job, I am obsessed in what I do. So you have to have something to be successful. So are they asking? They want to do it. They want to do more. They're asking. They want, or you guys decide, no, you should do more because of, right? Yeah. So then your kid is a soldier and is going to execute what you want, which sometimes bring the player in a big career. There are many examples of fathers that they force their kids in a certain area and they become really successful, right? I don't know if this is the right way to do it. Of course, listen, if you want to succeed, you have to work hard and you have to work maybe harder than the majority of the others. This is for sure, but it's something that has to come from inside, like you have to see this love and then help with opportunities for sure. And then it depends the age, Careful, the age. When we were talking about enjoy the game and these kind of things, when the kids are really young, 12, 13, 14, is there where you have to look only this. Later, 15, 16, 17, you can start to look something more specific in terms of improvement. But until they are 12, 13, let's say 14 and down, nothing. Enjoy the game, Then you can start to also look to work harder and work more and be more specialized. Let's say that in certain things. I have nothing against extra work, nothing.
Filippo, you were able to make a jump from running an incredible youth academy to becoming a professional manager in Ireland and to take a team to Europe in Europa League. And you've also been a technical director for a professional team in Switzerland. The jump that you made is very unique, which I think talks to who you are as a football lifer, right? And to your obsession, and had a lot of success doing that. And then becoming this technical director in Switzerland. What surprised you about the jump? What was the most difficult? And what did you take away from all of it?
What did not surprise me was because I know myself, was I never panic because I was prepared mentally and everything. I was prepared to do that. It's all my life that I chased this kind of opportunities. So when they arrive, I was ready. So this didn't surprise me. What surprised me was that the amount of stress that is coming from outside the game and is from stress that is coming from, I don't know how to explain, from media, from things that are disturbing. And what I was not really happy with was the BS around the gossip, the stupidity, the things that are not necessary on football to make a club better, to make a team better, and this was a little bit annoying me, are things that I'm not prepared. I don't care about that. You give me something to do, I'm going to do this all day long. And all the disturbing coming from the BS, from social media, from all these things that are disturbing people, and then you have to deal with that because player is crying because somebody in the social media is disturbing. I have love of the game. I have passion. I want to talk about that. I want to be focused on that. And I don't want to waste time with the other part of the game. But at the end of the day, then it's part of the game. It's part of the life. But when we say, be careful, when we say, oh, well, football is like that. No, I don't think so. Why I have to accept that? I'm not going to accept that. I'm not like that. You understand what I mean? Oh, it's part of the game. No, who say that? It's not part of my game. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Filippo, as you made the transition into the professional senior level team, did you look at it now and you go, oh, I should have done something differently at Medoval with the youth?
Medoval was a pure environment. It was a laboratory of, like I told you guys, a laboratory of ideas. It was not disturbed from nothing. It was just about football. You understand? If I'm thinking what I could bring back, of course, experience of high-level football that understand how the game is now and is looked now from professional, that can help how to build players better, right? Where you have to put more attention now when you develop players, because you have to follow the game. So if I'm thinking to the professional game now, of course, there are many accents that you have to put in the development now when you spend time to develop players. You need to understand the game at high level to see how are we going to develop players now? What we're going to do? Where football is going? So how we can help these kids to have access to this kind of football.
It's so hard to do this without generalizing. But I guess from what you saw your time in the US, do we spend too much time on tactics too early for kids before they even can use both of their feet effectively, before they know how to win a 1v1 duel, for example?
Yeah.
Is there too much time in training spent on tactics before kids are 12 or 13 or 14 years old and not enough time just purely on the technical side of development?
Sometimes, yeah. When you see a team U9, U10, U11, U12, U13, they play really good football, passing the ball around, combination, score goals. I'm not happy about that because this is the coach team. The coach is watching the mirror. Oh, look, my team is playing good football. I don't care about that. I want to see kids that they have experience, that they win duels, they go hard, and they have, they make their decision. They make a lot of mistakes. I don't care to see teams that they play great football. I don't know, even now I changed my mind because I don't even know what is good football anymore. Like it's another question. But anyway, I went through this even as a coach. We were obsessed for a game model when I was Medoval. We were playing a certain football, and then little by little we start to change. But game model is important, but has to be a tool to develop players, right? So because when you do a presentation to the game model and you say all the things that they influence the game model, right? So the quality of the players, the culture of the club, the culture of the country, the situation of the league, blah, blah, blah. All things that can influence a game model. Now you have to take out the game model from the center. You have to put the player inside, and the game model is outside. Because what is important is what influences the quality of the players, not what influences the game model. We need to keep on thinking, take out of our mind that we know things and things are certain. Oh, you have to do like that to develop a player. No. You don't know. Like you really don't know. It's something that is moving, is moving, is moving, is moving.
So, Filippo, you're saying that all of us basically in the same age range here, we're never too old to continue to evolve, huh? So there's hope for us.
Absolutely.
We learn how to produce a podcast. So I got to tell you.
Well, hopefully this helps people, because we are looking for clarity, always pushing on clarity.
Yeah.
Okay, but I don't know. Is clarity what we are looking for? Or we are looking to moving forward to see things? Because when something is clear for you, okay, you know how to do one thing, then what's next? Is just this? Is finished? Is clear? So we're done. We don't need to do anything else. I don't think so. I don't have clarity at the moment. Like nothing is clear for me. I'm looking to learn and do things better, and what I did 10 minutes ago is not working anymore.
And I'm curious, with the incredible experience that you have and the impact that you've had in so many different environments professionally as well as the youth, what is next for you?
If you are listening, even the great mind in football now in the world, it is the question that they are asking themselves every day, because everything is evolving, and is evolving really fast. Right? The game, the environment, the investors, the globalization of the game, everything is so fast, because before, like I told you guys, I had everything clear in my mind how to develop players or how to do things. In this moment is more in a gray area, and has to be a research and people that they get together with ideas, with data, with the statistic, with things that they bring you to next steps. But not to one next step, to what is going to be in the future. I don't know where we're going. I'm looking, I'm researching. I see a lot of room of improvement in the minds of the athlete, in the psychology. I saw a lot of improvement in the relationship inside the teams, inside the club, inside the working people inside the club, where things are moving. Physically, things are exploding in a different direction. The kind of athlete a soccer player is now is completely different than it was 1 year ago, 2 years ago. Now the recovery is 72 hours, even more, and it's not anymore 48. So what we did yesterday is not working. What I'm seeing now, that the players, they have to think and they have to make their own decisions. They have to be able to play everywhere, in every system, in every way, in every position on the pitch. If you listen what Luis Enrique said in one of his last interviews, he said, I'm dreaming players that can play all the position, that I have not system anymore and not position on the pitch.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Is this the future? I don't.
The theme of this interview with you is about evolution. It's about things changing quickly, and are you adapting to it and moving forward with it, or you're standing on the side? This is incredibly powerful. As we try to wrap up, we do this thing called rapid fire, where we ask short questions.
By the way, our rapid fire is far from rapid fire ever.
We actually call it rapid fire because usually Matt's questions are 15 minutes. So this means it's rapid fire from Matt's questions, not the answers. Though the answers can be long.
What about, after all these years, what has America taught you about football?
Well, what I learned in America through my education was how to structure a business, in a club, in terms of business, not only financial, to see the football club in his entire size, like the entire structure. So from the culture to the tactical, to the detail of the sub principle. This is what made me more clear in my mind.
Director, give me a 1 sentence, 2 sentence definition of, in your eyes, what is a real footballer?
He's a learner with grit.
Okay.
I read a book about grit recently.
Yeah.
And that explain all the success that less talented player with grit achieve to become top in their work, in all the jobs in the world, just because they had grit.
Yeah, it's a term we hear a lot, but it's something I don't know if a lot of our kids have it. That's it's not easy to get, because you can't just go take a class in grit.
Bravo. This was something that was when I was recruiting players.
Yeah.
Before, when you scouted, identified players, what before was a given was the greed. All of us, we had greed. We were tough. Now the talent is becoming this. So there is more talented players. The talent is becoming the greed, is becoming the heart, this obsession to work. This, can he learn? Can he be strong? Can he be there every game? This is a talent now.
It's become harder and harder, I would imagine, to scout players because we've got all these resources and all this video and all the analytics, but you can't scout grit, right? You don't know the adversity that a player has overcome. They could show up incredibly well in a match. They can show up incredibly well on video, but until you know a player, right, and understand how they're made and what drives them and what kind of grit they have, it's difficult, I would imagine, to forecast what they're going to be in 5 years.
Absolutely.
Director, we did an interview last week with a English PhD who's followed 300 academy players in England. And he said all the kids were talented, obviously, and they're all academy kids. But the separation was attitude. It wasn't that you can tell what attitude is. And when he interviewed the scouts and he interviewed the coaches, they couldn't give him a definition of what the attitude was, but it was something. And that missing piece is the difference between all these kids that are more or less in the same talent level.
Absolutely. I told you, is the one that makes the difference. 100%. It's not a given anymore.
Yeah, there are no givens. Where has the U.S. improved the most since you first arrived?
I think the understanding of the game, a little bit more attention on details. Before was more, like press, screaming and
press.
I don't know. Now there is a little bit more, understanding of the game in everything. There is more study. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah. Oof, that was something. All right.
I always say to my players, I hope I didn't clarify anything, but I hope that the doubt that now you have, you're gonna go through it. You're gonna find a way to clarify by yourself.
No, I'm much more confused now for sure than before we started.
But this was my objective.
Yeah, you worked. You did a good job.
It was a pleasure to be with you guys. Thank you. Always good to talk about football. And
it was an honor for us.
And I'm gonna be there for a camp now in the summer there at Metoval, and we're gonna share with the kids knowledge and stuff about the game.
Where can our listeners have information about this experience?
Yeah, Metoval website. I think they already launched something.
Okay.
And I'm going to be there 3 weeks, and I can't wait.
Right. Well, we can't wait to see you face to face then. That would be a great opportunity.
So, we're going to go out for dinner for sure.
Wow. If anybody saw me, what I'm doing with my hands right now. Wow. Take it, Matt.
Again, there's so many takeaways, but I think one of the really practical takeaways from Filippo is that parents should be careful with certainty, because the game is not standing still. The club environment matters, the training matters, the coach matters, but none of those things should become fixed answers that stop people from asking better questions.
Yeah, I'm going to take a line. One of so many. It was so hard to pick the ones that represent this, but football is like life. Like everything is changing every single day. This is a hard thing for parents because we want clarity, right? We talked about that in previous episodes. We want to know the right path. We want to know if our kid is in the right place. But the game doesn't always give you all that comfort.
No, and then Filippo says something even sharper. What I did 10 minutes ago is not working anymore. That is the episode. It's not nostalgia. It's not romance. It is not, this is how we used to do it. It is a reminder that the player has to keep adapting. And so do the adults around the player.
Yeah, and then the word duels. Filippo says, winning duels is many things. So it's not just being bigger, right? Not being stronger. It's about decision-making, courage, timing, repetition, the ability to fail and go at it again. For a parent, that means sometimes that the best environment is not the one that looks the cleanest. It may be one where your child has to solve more, compete more, and own more of the game.
I don't know about you, Laurent, but I felt like I was ready to put my boots back on and go back out there after this conversation with Filippo. Maybe the simplest line and the best one. When Laurent asked what makes a real footballer, Filippo said, a learner with grit. That is a different way to evaluate a player. not just the badge. It's not just the team. It's not just how polished they look at 11 or 12. Can they continue to learn? Do they want to learn? Can they adjust? Can they stay in it when the game gets uncomfortable?
Yeah, and huge thanks to Director Filippo. Mr. Thank you for bringing all this honesty, asking the questions and confusing us. And yes, the accent, man, I badge of honor for that. Filippo has mentioned that he'll be back at Mid-Oval this summer for a camp. Listeners, if you need more information, just go to the Mid-Oval website or you can contact us.
You know, they should start doing like fantasy camps for old people like us, Laurent.
Yeah,
Can you imagine?
I tell you, all I want to do is play now.
A bunch of 50-year-olds going out there in duels. How quickly we all fall to the ground.
Chasing the game, the return.
If this episode helped you think differently about your own player, share it with another parent, family, or team chat. Wow, team chat, that's new. Okay, thanks, Laurent.
Yeah, well, I'm trying. You know, and this is Chasing the Game, youth soccer in America. Matt and Laurent are winning duels.